Hi, I'm Mary Kopczynski, the CEO of Regalytics. Over 10,000 alerts this week. I found 50 that I thought were pretty important, but I can only cover 21, and even that's going to be really, really hard. So, subscribe to the Regalytics LinkedIn feed, and you can get the written version of this uh, vlog, I guess it is, which will include the full text, the alerts, plus the bonus alerts that I thought were interesting. The regulator of the week is California. Honestly, it's not fair because, yeah, they pass some massive sweeping packages, but that's like every week for California. They had 200 alerts just in the last 7 days. The next closest state last week was Arkansas with 112. This is typical, and it always has been. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the particulars, but major climate measures passed, major offshore wind goals adopted, online child protection laws, big changes signed into law, and of course, a cannabis law overhaul. Gotta hand it to their regulators. They are not lazy. The topic of the week is crypto, including the big Ethereum protocol change to proof of stake. I'm sure some of you have no idea what I'm talking about, but one of the concerns of crypto was that mining was costing a ton in terms of energy usage, which is not great for the climate. So they switched their processes after many, many years' delay. Basically, it's a big deal. And sticking with crypto, there was a big executive order by the White House to mandate reports on digital assets by various agencies. Some of those came out this week, including Treasury, the Office of Immigration Review, and of course, my good friends at the U.S. Senate Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee had intense views on the topic on both sides. The Bank of Netherlands came out this week with a Q&A on sanction screening for crypto transactions, as well as a view on data mobility in the financial sector that I think is a very interesting read. The FTC was prolific this week. They put out a report on the growing concern with crypto scams, but also the publication of a long-promised expose on digital dark patterns, which is basically where people trick you with a website to sign up for stuff you didn't realize you were signing up for. The FTC is very worried about that practice and going to start cracking down on it. The FTC also joined the CFPB in filing an amicus brief on a court case against Experian, which is opposing a policy that allows credit info companies to decline to investigate consumer disputes of their credit scores. FEMA announced that in this fiscal year, yes, 2022, through the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, they will be making targeted cybersecurity investments in state, local, and territorial government agencies as a part of the DHS $185 million budget that came from this act. On the international front, Biden met with families of Paul Whelan and Brittany Griner to talk through their imprisonment in Russia. Meanwhile, the Russia Central Bank made it an accommodation to credit institutions so that they don't need to publish their usual disclosures or bank statements for 3 more months to continue essentially to hide the impact that sanctions has had on these Russian companies. ESMA put out an implementation timeline for sustainable finance requirements for SFDR, TR, CSRD, MIFID, IDD, UCITS, and AIFMD. For those of you who have no idea what I'm saying, don't worry. And for those of you who do, better get cracking. There was a fun report from the French Prudential Authority on overconfidence in bank lending. Overconfident borrowers default more, pay higher loan rates, and are more likely to be denied credit. Interestingly, banks that ask for more collateral tend to give more credit to overconfident borrowers, which means that while the bank feels safer because of the collateral it has on hand, it actually isn't. Another important alert from the SEC is that the exam priorities is going to include the upcoming Advisors Act marketing rule. So if you are not ready for that, this will be what they're asking you about when they come to look at your processes. Can't say I didn't warn you. And honestly, if you had had Regalytics, you would have known about it in 2020. This week, Senator Lindsey Graham introduced a national ban on abortion. So that will now run its course through Congress. The Cannabis Regulators Association appointed a new president and now has 40 states and territories participating. And finally, Colorado's roadmap for building a statewide electric vehicle charging network has been approved by the federal government, which will clear the way for over $57 million over the next 5 years to invest in this area. That's it this week for Regalytics. Make my day and come get a subscription. See you next Wednesday.